Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Inside Movies Galore. I'm your host, David Strege, and here I have another review for you from a film from 1999, directed by none other than Terry Gilliam. Now, I have always found that Terry Gilliam's films are often weird, but often beautiful at the same time. Now, this particular film stars Jeff Bridges, Robin Williams, Mercedes Ruehl, and quite a few other characters in this film that make up a story of a disc jockey who evidently has a very hot talk show where he talks to people with mental health issues and is evidently a voice of the city of New York. And one day he's speaking to a man, and he basically goads him into going and killing some people. And he actually goes and does it. And then several years later, he runs a video store with his sometime girlfriend, Anne, and he ends up running into a homeless man who calls himself Perry, but he was known as another man as a history professor. But he runs around the city with this quest for the Holy Grail of a chalice that is in a millionaire dollar's home, and he really thinks that everybody else is a knight upon this very quest. And when he runs into Jack, who was played by Jeff Bridges, he's down in his luck. He didn't even realize that Perry was, in fact, this man that was connected to one of the women who was, in fact, murdered by this so-called gunman. So Jeff Bridges' character, Jack, he really feels sorry for what happened. So he takes Perry under his wing, and he tries to give him money, but then he gives it to someone else. So he constantly wants to try to figure out what the best thing to help him out with. Now, Robin Williams is a phenomenal actor, a phenomenal comedian, and I hate to hero worship him, but he really had an animosity about animalistic nature, where he was just his own human being. Like when he came out on Mork and Mindy, he just had that, spontaneous personality that no matter how you tried to pin him down, he just could never, be that normal person. So him taking on this role and acting like this, knight on an errant quest, and then having to want to save damsels in distress, he falls in love. He evidently follows this very young woman who hates her job, and so Jack's character ultimately wants to bring those two together, and through bringing the two together, he begins to learn that he in fact loves this woman that he lives with, who owns this video store. And no matter what Perry being involved in his life actually brings him together, even though he brings them apart. I thought that Robin Williams could definitely light up a room with his presence, but there was always a dark side to him as well, especially when he had these visions of a dragon in red, a monster that was making him fearful of him finishing his quest, which is why he thought that, Jack's character was actually his savior, his knight that could continue his quest, the one that he could not finish. And I thought that the plot of this was actually very real. How a man can be so estranged from reality and yet be so in the present, using barbaric terms to have terminology with today's terms. This was actually a first time watch for me. So I thought it was funny. It was entertaining. I thought the characters were very real. I thought it brought it back to home, and I fairly enjoyed this film. Here's what the film is called. It's called The Fisher King, and in this film, he actually talks about what the Fisher King really was. The Fisher King was actually one of the last line of so-called knights that apparently that were on the Arthurian quest, part of the Crusades, who had evidently been tasked with and honored with protecting the Holy Grail. And the Fisher King was also known as the Wounded Knight or the Maimed Knight. And oftentimes he would either be wounded either in the groin or the legs. Often it was the groin. And he would only be able to go out in a fishing boat and fish not far from his castle. So I thought that this was a very cool fable or story to kind of tell with this errant knight story, which was set in New York. And who else could pull off lying naked, having a buddy moment in Central Park? In any case, hopefully you enjoyed my description of this film. It was definitely entertaining for me. I hope that it continues to have an audience. I certainly enjoyed watching this film. I ended up picking this film up from a friend. It was produced by Columbia Pictures as well as TriStar Pictures. And it was actually distributed later down the road on the Criterion Collection on Laserdisc and many other different companies. In fact, it is on the Criterion Collection as of 2015. So I thought, and the special effects were done by Peerless Camera Company. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed my description of this film. Like and subscribe to my page if you have not. Definitely check out some of my other reviews. I will definitely have some more cool reviews for you. I can't say enough about this film. Robin Williams, I have forgotten to actually pay homage to the man because he's actually dead. And I hope that I did him credit here because I really enjoy everything that he is in, even if he's not playing a likable character. But in any case, thank you. Have a great day, evening, or morning, wherever you are. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much ahead of time. Thank you for listening to my ramblings.